Before you ever worried about confidence, before you ever analyzed a text message, before you ever questioned your attachment style, your brain had only one goal: not happiness, not success, not self-improvement, connection. From the moment you were born, your nervous system was not asking, "Am I fulfilled?" It was asking, "Am I safe with someone?" Human beings are not wired for independence first. We are wired for attachment first. Because in our evolutionary past, survival didn't depend on intelligence. It depended on belonging. A child alone in the wild does not survive. So the brain developed a powerful rule: connection equals safety. Disconnection equals danger. This rule lives deeper than logic. It lives in your nervous system. And this is where many people misunderstand themselves. You don't react strongly in relationships because you're dramatic. You react strongly because your brain interprets emotional distance as a survival threat. That's why a delayed reply can feel painful. That's why silence feels heavy. That's why mixed signals create anxiety. Your brain is not responding to a phone notification. It's responding to perceived loss of attachment. Over time, your mind learned patterns, not by thinking, by experiencing. If attention was unpredictable, right arrow, you became alert. If emotions caused tension, right arrow, you hid them. If closeness overwhelmed others, right arrow, you became independent. You didn't choose a personality. You developed strategies, and the important truth is this: your behaviors were never random. They were solutions. People-pleasing was a solution. Avoidance was a solution. Overthinking was a solution. Emotional shutdown was a solution. Each one answered the same question: what must I do to keep connection? Some people learned, I must not upset others. Some learned, I must not need others. Some learned, I must constantly monitor others. Different strategies, same purpose: stay attached. Many people believe they repeatedly choose the wrong partners, but psychology suggests something more precise. You are not choosing what is best for you. You are choosing what your nervous system recognizes. Familiarity feels safe, even when painful. Imagine someone who grew up with emotional unpredictability. They meet a calm, consistent partner. Nothing is wrong, yet they feel bored, not because the relationship lacks meaning, because the nervous system lacks recognition. There is no emotional roller coaster to interpret, no uncertainty to monitor, no intensity to decode. Peace feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. So the mind begins to question, something must be missing. But what is missing is not chemistry, it is familiar chaos. Your brain has an ancient job. Predict the future based on the past, not to make you happy, to make you prepared. So if your past taught love equals inconsistency, attention equals anxiety, closeness equals pressure, then your brain will choose environments that recreate those states, not consciously, automatically. Because predictable pain feels safer than unpredictable peace. You don't chase unhealthy relationships because you enjoy suffering. You chase them because your brain knows how to function inside them. You know how to monitor. You know how to wait. You know how to analyze. You know how to survive there. But in safe connection, you don't know your role yet. Many people start self-work believing healing will remove discomfort, that they will stop getting triggered, stop feeling anxious, stop reacting emotionally. But healing is not emotional silence. Healing is emotional capacity. It does not erase emotion. It changes your relationship to it. You will still feel fear, but it won't control your behavior. You will still feel hurt, but it won't collapse your identity. You will still feel conflict, but it won't threaten your sense of connection. Healing is not the absence of reaction. It is the presence of stability. At this point, many people understand their attachment style intellectually. They know, I am anxious. I am avoidant. I people please. But in real situations, the same reactions appear because attachment is not a thinking pattern, it is a body pattern. Your nervous system reacts before your thoughts form. Your heart rate increases, your muscles tense, your breathing changes. Then your mind creates a story to explain the sensation. You believe your thoughts caused the feeling, but the feeling came first. That's why awareness alone rarely changes behavior. Understanding is cognitive. Attachment is physiological. You don't heal attachment by new ideas. You heal attachment by new experiences. Many people think safety means no conflict, no discomfort, no uncertainty, but real emotional safety is different. Safety means you can be honest without losing connection. You can disagree without abandonment. You can need without shame. Safety is not calm circumstances. It is reliable repair. In a safe relationship, conflict is not a threat. It is a process. The difference is not whether problems happen. The difference is whether connection returns. Here is a paradox. When healing begins, many people feel worse before better. Not because healing is harmful, because the nervous system is recalibrating. You may feel restless in calm relationships, suspicious of kindness, uncomfortable with consistency. Your brain is checking. Is this real? You might even create conflict unintentionally. Not to ruin the relationship, to restore familiarity. Your system is searching for the emotional environment it understands, and peace is still unfamiliar territory. Real change does not start when you act differently. It starts when you notice differently, when you pause and observe. I am not reacting to this person. I am reacting to an expectation my brain predicted. That awareness creates space, and in that space, choice becomes possible. Instead of automatic reassurance seeking, instead of automatic withdrawal, instead of automatic over-explaining, you pause, you breathe, and your nervous system learns. This moment is not the past. One of the biggest misunderstandings in healing is this. People think healing means you stop getting triggered. But triggers don't disappear. They change meaning. Before healing, a trigger controlled your behavior. After healing, a trigger becomes information. You still feel the reaction. The difference is what happens next. Before, the feeling decided your actions. Now the feeling becomes something you observe. You notice, my fear is active. Instead of, this relationship is wrong. Your nervous system sends an alarm, but your awareness checks the environment, and slowly your brain learns a new association. Alarm does not always equal danger. This is how emotional regulation develops, not by eliminating emotional reactions, by staying present after they appear. Real emotional maturity grows in one place, the space between emotion and behavior. Previously, that space didn't exist. Feeling anxious, right arrow, you texted repeatedly. Feeling rejected, right arrow, you withdrew. Feeling hurt, right arrow, you became defensive. The reaction felt automatic because your brain was protecting you quickly. Now a small pause appears, maybe just a few seconds, but inside that pause, something new becomes possible. You can ask, what is actually happening right now? Instead of reacting to the past, you respond to the present. And that is the beginning of freedom. One of the first visible changes in healing is subtle. You stop chasing intensity. You still want connection, but urgency fades. You no longer feel the need to fix every silence. You no longer feel compelled to earn attention. You no longer interpret every pause as rejection. This does not happen because you became cold. It happens because your brain begins to trust stability. Your nervous system slowly learns connection does not require constant monitoring. Love does not require constant proof. And when that belief shifts, your behavior shifts naturally. You don't force yourself to act differently. You feel differently. One of the first visible changes in healing is subtle. You stop chasing intensity. You still want connection, but urgency fades. You no longer feel the need to fix every silence. You no longer feel compelled to earn attention. You no longer interpret every pause as rejection. This does not happen because you became cold. It happens because your brain begins to trust stability. Your nervous system slowly learns connection does not require constant monitoring. Love does not require constant proof. And when that belief shifts, your behavior shifts naturally. You don't force yourself to act differently. You feel differently. When you first encounter a healthy relationship after years of survival-based patterns, it can feel confusing. There is less guessing, less emotional turbulence, less dramatic highs and lows. And many people interpret this as lack of passion. But what is missing is not emotion. What is missing is anxiety. For a long time, your brain associated anxiety with connection because attention followed uncertainty. Now consistency replaces uncertainty, and your nervous system doesn't recognize it immediately. You may feel, this is nice, but something feels unfamiliar. That unfamiliar feeling is not a warning, it is adjustment. Your mind is learning a new emotional language. Before healing, communication often served protection. You explained excessively, or avoided entirely. You over-apologized, or emotionally shut down. After healing, communication becomes simpler. You express sooner, you repair faster. You don't store resentment for months. You don't wait for proof of safety before honesty, because honesty itself becomes part of safety. You realize conflict does not automatically destroy connection. Unspoken emotions do. And when that understanding settles in your nervous system, relationships become clearer. Not easier, clearer. Another major shift happens internally. You start trusting your own experience. Previously, you doubted yourself constantly. You asked others for reassurance repeatedly. You second-guessed your feelings. Because your brain relied on external cues to feel secure. Now something changes. You still care about others' responses, but they don't define your reality. If something feels wrong, you notice. If something feels good, you accept it. You don't ignore red flags. You also don't invent them. This is not confidence. This is self-trust. And self-trust is a direct result of emotional safety inside yourself. And after enough new experiences, something subtle shifts. Connection stops feeling like relief. It starts feeling like steadiness. You no longer feel euphoric when someone stays. You no longer panic when they are temporarily unavailable. Your emotional baseline becomes stable. You don't feel intensely high. You don't feel intensely low. You feel grounded. And many people initially misinterpret this state. They say, I feel less excited. But what they actually feel is regulated. The nervous system no longer swings between threat and reassurance. It rests. And from this place, real intimacy becomes possible. Conflict used to mean danger. Now conflict becomes information. You can disagree without assuming rejection. You can hear feedback without losing identity. You can apologize without shame. Because the relationship is no longer responsible for your emotional survival. You are, and paradoxically, this makes connection stronger. When neither person must protect themselves constantly, honesty becomes easier. And honesty builds trust, not perfection, not constant harmony. Repair. Repair is the foundation of lasting relationships.